Okay, we're ready to get started. Today is Tuesday, May 14th, 2024. This is a combined special meeting and work session. I'm calling this meeting to order and giving our city clerk a moment to get back to her computer. Can we have roll call?
Mayor Daggett.
Here.
Vice Mayor Aslan.
Over here.
Councilmember Harris.
Here.
Councilmember House.
Present.
Councilmember Matthews.
Here.
Councilmember McCarthy. And Councilmember Sweet.
Here. Thank you. Vice Mayor. Yes, Vice Mayor. Would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
It'd be my pleasure. Please stand as you're able.
Councilmember Matthews, would you read our mission statement?
Love to. The mission of the City of Flagstaff is to protect and enhance the quality of life for all.
Thank you. Councilmember House, could you read our land acknowledgement?
It would be my honor, Mayor. Thank you. The Flagstaff City Council humbly acknowledges the ancestral homelands of this area's indigenous nations and original stewards. These lands, still inhabited by Native descendants, border mountains sacred to indigenous peoples. We honor them, their legacies, their traditions, and their continued contributions. We celebrate their past, present, and future generations who will forever know this place as home.
Thank you. All right, next up is reviewing the draft agenda for our May 21st City Council meeting. Council members, do you have any questions or comments about the agenda? Okay, we will move on to, my apologies. Councilmember House.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to acknowledge that we did have a note that there was one proclamation that was missed for the next meeting for Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. So we will be doing that as well, and just wanted to make sure the community knew that.
Thank you for that, and my apologies for not seeing you. Okay, open call to the public. This enables the public to address the council about an item that is not on the prepared agenda. Comments related to items that are on the agenda will be taken at the time that that item is discussed. Open call to the public appears on the agenda twice, at the beginning and at the end. Total time allotted for the first open call to the public is 30 minutes. You have 3 minutes, and there is a clock right here. And I will start with Dennis Givens.
All right, thanks a lot, mayors, vice mayors, city council staff, citizens. My name is Dennis Givens, concerned citizen of the South Side, and I'm just here to plug some small businesses, and hopefully I have enough time to read them all out. The first business is Morning Glory Cafe. It's a nice restaurant to get your fiber, and it's mostly organic, so if you like that stuff, go on in. Gracie Baja Jiu-Jitsu is a nice place to learn martial arts. I got my purple belt there. It's really awesome. Evolve Fitness is a small fitness center. Run Flagstaff is a cool place where you can get running shoes and other running apparel. Bike Revolution. It's a nice place to get bikes and other accessories. Pizzicletta is a great pizza place. Satchmo's Barbecue on 4th Street is a great place to get some barbecue. And right next to there is White Dove Coffee. Dar Thai, actually my first job out of college as a dishwasher, really cool place. Toasted Owl, I know the owner, Cecily, she's a really nice lady. Mother Road Brewing Company, the owner is really cool. I done jiu-jitsu with him, or did jiu-jitsu with him. Flag Tag AZ is a nice place to host parties. One of One Barbershop is a good friend of mine. Yogurt, actually, excuse me. It's a place where you can eat yogurt and display your art. It's on Aspen, really cool people on that. Drinking Horde Meadery Hall. It's a nice meadery place. It's alcohol mixed with honey. Sounds pretty cool. Evans Fish and Chips, really visit that place. Their owner sadly passed away 2 weeks ago, and it just shows you the struggles of small business owners. They're really putting their heart and souls into it. So go check out that place. It's on San Francisco Street. Northern Arizona Yoga is right next to there. Flag Tea Factory is a really awesome place. I got some t-shirts made there and some cards. Foundry Yoga Studios right next to there. Biff's Bagels. The CSA, the Community Shared Agriculture, is a really nice place where we can get local produce. Mountaintop Tap Room. I met the owner of there. Shift Kitchen and Bar. Pay and Take Bar and Wine. Dark Sky Brewing Company is another cool place. Kokyo, it's a Korean restaurant. Forestdale Farms. And also Rainbow's End. I think you should sell men's clothes because it would be really cool to go in there and buy something from you. And yeah, thanks a lot. Support small businesses. They need it more than ever. There's a lot of inflation going on. And yeah, it's really hard work to run a small business. And it just makes America unique. So let's please go support small businesses. And also, I sent everyone a Facebook friend request. I only got 3 response, so I need at least 1 more to have the council's approval. So please check out my page. And thanks a lot. You guys are all doing an awesome job. And this is cool that the STEM people are here. I think robots are going to save our lives one day. So hopefully they don't take over. All right. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you. Sierra Frydenlund.
Sorry, it's a difficult name. It's Friedenlund. It's Norwegian. Yeah, I'm here to talk about the maximum tow charge within the city of Flagstaff. And thank you, Jim McCarthy, for inviting me to speak. Thank you, Mayor, other council members, I should say. I would just like to provide an anecdote. So I was towed last Saturday in my HOA neighborhood, and there are some sections that are no parking. It's kind of confusing as to which parts are no parking and other parts are designated for parking. But anyways, I parked. I was towed around 9 p.m. I believe a lovely HOA board member called my car in, so thank you to that board member. Anyways, I was towed at 9 p.m. I called around 9:53 p.m. They informed me that it was $320. I picked up my car around 10:30, 11 or so. That's less than 2 hours of being towed and stored at their lot. And I would like to add that according to the Arizona Revised Statute, Section 9-499.05, it allows cities to set a max rate for private carriers to tow from private property. And I believe that that is in place for Phoenix. The municipalities within Phoenix, Glendale, Tempe, so on and so forth. And I believe Tucson. I was actually towed in Phoenix maybe half a year ago, and I paid around like $160 to $180, and that was for far more time and around 10 miles more than where I was towed to the lot. $320 is an abysmal cost to pay. It was towed less than 5 miles away from my place, and it provides another burden. Luckily, I'm paid all right, but for low-income folks, that's rent away like that. It's not great. Also, they said that they only accept cash. That, I believe, is illegal according to Arizona Revised Statute, Section 28-4847. They can accept forms of cash, credit card, debit cards, insurance company issue check, or money order. Also, they did not ask for my proof of registration before the release of my vehicle. I would ask that perhaps there could be better enforcement of these regulations and laws within the city of Flagstaff. That business was Flagstaff Tow and Recovery. Also, congratulations to the robotics teams. It was a coincidence that I wore red.
Thank you. Kathleen Griffiths.
Hello. I'm Captain Kathleen Griffiths of the Salvation Army here in Flagstaff. And thank you for having me here, Mayor and councilmen and citizens. So I would like to present an award. This week is National Salvation Army History Week, and so we celebrate it, of course, worldwide. And we would like to recognize the city of Flagstaff as belonging to our William Booth Society, which means that they, donors who have donated $5,000 or more per year, they are recognized with a William Booth Society Award. And so with the, so there's a letter here, and there's an award I would like to present, to the mayor. And it says for proudly, the William Booth Society proudly honors City of Flagstaff for generous contributions to help our neighbors in need in the Salvation Army Southwest Division. And then there's a letter with it explaining all the different things that we do in Salvation Army. But we're very, very grateful here in the Southwest Division, but in the city of Flagstaff specifically. So.
Thank you very much. Maybe we can have all of council come down and take a photo with you?
Yeah.
We happen
I
to
was gonna
have
ask
Sean
if photos
Johnson
were
here.
allowed.
Come on in. Councilmember, did you want to say something?
I did. You never know what I'm going to say. I want to say thank you on behalf of my grandfather. My grandfather fought in World War I in France, and the Salvation Army would come out and help the wounded soldiers. And there was other organizations, I won't mention their names, but they wouldn't come out. But Salvation Army, they came out, risked their lives, and helped soldiers like my grandfather. So thank you.
All right, thank you for that. Next, we have Jill Stevenson.
That's quite an act to follow. And I'm so thrilled to see all these young people here. This is great. I mean, what a lesson in civics. Terrific. Thank you for letting me speak, council and residents and staff. The City of Flagstaff is extremely fortunate to have such a skilled, dedicated sustainability department. These folks obviously recognize the seriousness of our climate emergency. They are doing all they can to mitigate the causes and resulting effects. Following their recommendations should get us closer to the city's goal of carbon neutrality by 2023. Excuse me, that would be great, 2023. 2030. One of the obvious steps is fleet electrification. Big surprise. During the pandemic, we saw almost immediate, drastic reduction in air pollution as the result of fewer vehicles being driven, more people working from home, and virtual schooling, so no diesel-powered school buses or parents driving kids to school and sitting there waiting and waiting with all the fumes coming out. This resulted in a remarkable lessening of carbon emissions. A rapid transition to electric vehicles, or even hybrids, could have a similar effect. I would hope the city would continue to take advantage of the monies available through the Inflation Reduction Act. With numerous existing charging stations in and around Flagstaff, and with the possibility of community source aggregation, providing all our electricity from renewable sources, we should be transitioning to EVs at jet speed instead of snail's pace. The time to act is now. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Stephen Poor.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. Steve Poor, 1640 West Amana Way. I've been here once or twice before. Today, I just want to make a quick comment. Number one, I need to reintroduce my experience for you. 30 years producing financial opinions on every industry in this country for the investors across this country, investing billions of dollars on their behalf. And I've come and I've been giving you information, giving you free information, and not pointing out to your consultants who aren't giving you good information with regards to how they're forecasting. Now I just found in my mail this afternoon that come Thursday, you're going to get some more forecasting. And I hate to tell you, but as good as these people are with water and waste, they're not forecasters. And one of the things you have to take in consideration when you look at a forecast, is it reliable, repeatable, and does it give you good results? So when they sit there and they give you a 5-year average and say this number is 7.8, we're going to use 4, or this number is 5.8, we're going to use 6, go back 5 years, see if that works. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Go back in the same time periods they're presenting you on their graphs from Fred. I'll present them too on Thursday. But they have to be repeatable and reliable, and they have to have a high consistency of tracking error also, of where we are. These are nothing more than junk. You need to rely on experts. Don't be fooled just because we've got inflation. We got to understand what's behind the numbers, what's under the numbers, and what's driving the numbers of inflation. And that's what you look to when you build your forecast. You just don't go look and say, poke my hand to the wind. Unfortunately, they're coming out of an entity like the city when you can forecast your mild growth of 3 to 5% sales growth because the economy grows 3 to 5% normally. That's easy. But when you have the Federal Reserve in 2020 increasing the money supply by 40% when they normally increase it 2% a year, but they did it in 1 quarter, then you're going to have some problems, and that's what we've got. We've got a lot of problems regarding inflation and regarding construction, regarding home prices going up 40%, stock prices going up 40%. This is not a surprise to the Federal Reserve, and that's why the Federal Reserve is doing what they're doing. And that's why the Federal Reserve is telling you that we're going to get inflation back down to 2% where it was for the 15 years prior to 2020, okay? So these are the people you need to listen to when you're looking at cost escalations instead of burdening the poor people of this city with huge increases on water and water waste of 157% instead of 50%, and you can build anything you want in your current capital projects budget for the water and the water waste. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving down, item number 6, recognition of accomplishments in STEM. CJ Perry is down here to begin a presentation, and then we will present some awards, and then we will have a presentation from the Coconuts.
All right. Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. CJ Perry. You all know me in my official capacity here, but I'm excited to be here in another capacity that is dear to my heart. I'm here as a volunteer first LEGO robotics coach and mentor. And this year specifically, I was given the honor of receiving a Coach Mentor Award at the first LEGO League Arizona state competition. FIRST, which stands for Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology, has STEM and robotics programs across all age groups. Last year, there were over 668,000 students across 106 countries that participated in FIRST STEM activities. I believe this year there were somewhere around 65,000 teams that competed across the 3 main robotics competition programs. Of all those teams and the amazingly smart students across the globe, Flagstaff, Arizona sent not one, but 2 teams to the world's competition. The Flagstaff Christian School Warrior Bots competed in the first LEGO League Challenge, which spans grade school and middle school age students, and the Coconino Coconuts competed in the first robotics competition, which spans high school age students. To give you a sense of scale of these competitions, here's a little video I took at the competition. So this was the LEGO robotics part of the competition. There was 152 teams, only 50 of those were from the United States. And this is the high school age competition. This was a very, very large venue. When I say very large, it keeps going and going and going.
CJ, was that you in the cape?
No, it was not. I wish. I don't have that good a style. There were also celebrities there, as well as Ivy League college recruiters there. It was an amazing experience and competition. So today we wanted to recognize those accomplishments of these 2 robotics programs and give the students an opportunity to share with City Council some of the ways this program has impacted their lives and the community. We are going to start with the Flagstaff Christian School Warrior Bots. But in order to recognize the Warrior Bots, I first need to recognize Mr. Elijah Rentschler. Mr. Rentschler is the Flagstaff Christian School engineering teacher. Along with support from others, including the Coconino Coconuts, Mr. Rentschler was able to start our LEGO robotics program. The program has only been running for 2 years. The first year, Flagstaff Christian School had not 1, but 2 teams succeed in the regional qualifiers and qualify for the state competition. Then, in only the second year, we sent this team here to the World's competition. Additionally, last year, Mr. Rentschler was able to have Flagstaff Christian School compete in another regional STEM competition in Phoenix, where they took both first and second place. The culmination of all of this is that Mr. Rentschler also received a STEMmy Award for STEM Teacher of the Year. Mr. Rentschler is taking a step back from teaching next year to focus on his family, but I wanted to take a moment to thank him for all he has done in the community and support STEM opportunities for his students. And now I wanted to allow the students to come in and show you their innovation project. The innovation project is one part of the LEGO League Challenge and is worth 1/4 of the total score for the competition, in addition to the robot game, robot design score, and demonstrating core values and gracious professionalism throughout the competition. Students, you guys can come on up. For their innovation project, students are encouraged to find creative ways to positively impact their community. This year's theme was around the arts, more STEAM than STEM. So the students were encouraged to identify a problem and find a creative solution that would use technology with a focus on bringing art to others. I also wanted to call out a couple students in respect to the relation to city staff. Addison is my daughter. Claire, her father is a Flagstaff firefighter. And while Yana's dad is not a city staff member, you all have had many presentations from Joe Lovrich with J.E. Fuller to support our flood mitigation project. So I wanted to recognize them. And now I will turn it over to the students to give you their presentation.
Okay, good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Council. We are the Warrior Bots from Flagstaff Christian School, and we're super excited to be here. So, I'm Madison.
I'm Yana.
I'm Claire.
I'm Miles. I'm Asher. Oh, and we have another team member that was not able to be here right now. He's in the bottom of the Grand Canyon.
So we were all super excited that this year's theme was centered around art. So we recognize that people with visual impairments aren't able to enjoy artwork as well as we can. So we decided to create an app that can audibly describe art and the world around us to visual impaired people.
We did some extensive research into this subject. We first looked up what sorts of options were available to visually impaired people. We also talked to the manager of education from the Museum of Northern Arizona. What we found is that there were very few options for visually impaired. There were some audio descriptions of some of the artwork at the museum and other museums, but it wasn't very interactive and limited in what was available. We really wanted something that was interactive and that would work in any museum.
We did a couple iterations of an app to try and solve the problem. Our coach then challenged us to learn JavaScript. So he found some videos on Khan Academy, and me, Miles, and Yana all started learning JavaScript. I created the first iteration of the app, which is this one. So, oh yeah. Do you mind if we take a picture of you guys, because we don't have anything to take a picture of right now?
Tap anywhere on the screen to take a picture. Loading text. Please wait.
So we decided we wanted to use ChatGPT to scan a picture.
Loading audio. Please wait.
To scan a picture from your phone and then describe it to you audibly. So we built this app. Yeah,
You're looking at an indoor setting that likely evokes a sense of formality and civic engagement. The room has a traditional and sturdy feel, reminiscent of established heritage and trust. At the far end sits a panel of individuals, suggesting a harmonious and cooperative vibe, where decisions and discussions are probably conducted. Two flags provide a backdrop of patriotism and unity, while a centered emblem offers a sense of identity and pride. The arrangement of the room, with its seating facing the panel, indicates an environment of openness and discourse. The foreground includes written material, which might give one a sense of participation or inquiry within this setting. The lighting overhead adds clarity and focus, casting an atmosphere conducive to attentiveness and order. Click anywhere to restart.
Yes, then you can click it.
Tap anywhere on the
Yeah, and
screen
then we'll go.
to take a picture.
And then this was the trophy we got at state for 3rd place.
We received a lot of feedback from multiple people. One of the main person who gave us feedback was Amanda Kuhnhaas. She's a blind golfer. And you'll notice that the app uses more emotions and feelings instead of colors. And we also talked to and that was a suggestion made by her. And we also talked to the education manager for the Museum of Northern Arizona, and she gave us specific ideas for things that would be good in museums. And we showed this app to all of our friends, and it's been shared all over the U.S.
Ultimately, we had a lot of fun building this app, and we found that it works great for things besides museum artwork. We took pictures of ourselves and the world around us to see what it would say, and we think this app can be so much more useful than just for artwork. It could also help visually impaired people explore their world. In addition to our innovation project, we made a robot, and I programmed it this morning during school to do push-ups. If it'll turn on here. So it goes around a board and pushes and pulls different objects around the board, and yeah.
Okay, so we have a slideshow. Okay, so we had a lot of fun at the World's competition, and we met tons of people around the world. So there's Denmark in the red, and there's immigrants from China in the blue, and then there's Canada in the green, and we just met tons of other people around the world. And then in the navy blue up there, there's Florida. So we met tons of different people. It was a lot of fun. And then, let's see. Up there is Greece. There was also another Denmark team. There's the Czech Republic, and I think, oh yeah, that's Phoenix, Arizona in the black. So that's a picture of our booth. Thank you to the city for providing Flagstaff stickers and postcards that we could hand out. It was a lot of fun, and a ton of people all around the world got them, so it was really cool. And then, okay, this is a picture of us at NASA. Our teacher, Mr. Rentschler, was able to get us a private tour of NASA. It was the experience of a lifetime, and we got to see ISS mission control and the Saturn V rocket. So, Mayor and Council, any questions?
Fantastic. And I have to say, I got a little bit nervous when it started describing what it saw up here. I thought, where is this going? Council, questions, comments? Councilmember House.
Thank you so much for this presentation and for the work that you guys are doing. This is absolutely amazing. I can't believe that an app that you developed that's that intuitive and that stirring in the descriptions that it gives of what it sees was third place. That's absolutely, I'm astounded by what you've done, and I hope that you all continue to do this type of work, because this is the type of thing that gives us all hope for the future, and that is speaking very, very powerfully into the capacity of our youth, and of what's possible when you guys bring your dreams and your visions to life. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Councilmember Matthews.
Thank you, Mayor. I was so impressed when you started out by saying you had to learn JavaScript, because I had to do that, and I'm like, wow. And then this was so amazing. And how old are you guys?
I'm 13. 13 and 14, basically.
Simply amazing. Oh my gosh, you guys, I can't even imagine what got first and second, because this is so impressive. So very proud of you guys. You did an amazing job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember McCarthy.
You don't know what I'm going to say, do you?
My fingers are crossed.
This reminds me of a day when I was in high school and I was taking physics class, and the professor, the teacher, he says, you guys are going to be the future leaders of America. And I think in that case it was true, and I'll say the same thing to you. You guys are going to be the future leaders of America. So work hard and get ready. Do it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, can we have you all come down here? I have a recognition for you, and we'll take a photo. Really phenomenal, and thank you for being a teacher. The City of Flagstaff recognizes the dedication and perseverance it takes to compete at the first robotics competition world championship, and congratulates the Warrior Bots as one of 150 teams out of 35,000 to qualify in the first LEGO League Championship. Warrior Bots competed at the first LEGO League World Robotics competition, and the City of Flagstaff is beyond excited to see what the team will accomplish in the years to come. The City of Flagstaff is extremely proud of the Warrior Bots team. Thank you all. Great presentation. This is going to go down as the best council meeting we've ever had. All right, so I would like to welcome up our next presenters.
Yeah, so I'd like to invite Christine Sapio with the Coconino Coconuts to come and talk about their accomplishments this year. As she's coming up, I wanted to specifically thank the Coconuts for their leadership and support in the STEM community. Their help is one of the reasons our program even exists. They helped us get the program started, their students helped mentor ours in the first year, and they even helped take much of our equipment to the world competition in their trailer. Our success is just as much their accomplishment as it is theirs, so thank you so much. And now I will hand it over to them.
Good afternoon, everyone, Mayor and Vice Mayor and council members. My name is Christine Sapio. I'm a teacher at Coconino High School. I teach physics by day, and I coached the Coconuts in my spare time in the afternoons and evenings there. My co-coach, Dave Thompson, couldn't be here today. He has a bison tag up in North Kaibab that expires in a couple of days, so he's trying to get that taken care of and everything. I have a number of students from my team here as well. I wanted to start with just a brief description of what the first robotics competition is all about and explain a little bit about the recognition that they received at World Championships. So every year in early January, the Coconuts and every team from around the world receives our game on the same day. Our game is played on the field the size of a basketball court with 6 robots that can be up to 125 pounds each on the field at the same time. We have then approximately 6 weeks to design, build, program, break, rebuild, and test a machine of our very own design to play each year's unique games. So we've played games that have themes everywhere from storming a medieval castle to fueling up a rocket for launch to this year's game, which was called Crescendo, that had a music theme to it to fit with the arts. The students had a 14-inch foam ring that they had to deliver to different parts along the field to represent different parts of essentially fueling up for a rock concert. There was a speaker, which was a high shot, an amp, which was a low shot, and then, of course, to make things interesting, that 125-pound robot had to pick itself up off the ground by grabbing onto a chain and pulling itself up off the ground all by itself. So we competed at 3 regional events this season. We competed up in Utah, down in Phoenix, and then in Las Vegas, Nevada. The students were recognized at each of those events with some different awards. They received the Regional First Impact Award in Utah, which was week 1, late February, early March. They received the Judges Award, and Elena over here was recognized as our 15th First Dean's List finalist for student leadership. And in Las Vegas, we were the captain of the second seeded alliance and received the Creativity Award for their robot Euclid, named such because the entire theme of this season was, does the geometry work? When it was designing a robot. So these guys created something that was very inventive, and it was a single mechanism that could do all 3 tasks that I just listed. It was pretty incredible. So I want to recognize the students that are here as well. So we have, raise your hand, Coconuts. We have a number of students who are on the build and programming team. So if you're part of the technical team, please raise your, just a little bit, Connor, yes. Connor actually was, worked with a mentor from Lowell Observatory this year to get the robot to actually find the game pieces using a camera and go get it all on its own, which is incredible to me. Because whenever the programmers start talking, really what my answer is, what do you guys need me to buy for you to make the robot work? Because I don't understand what it is they're saying. We also had a number of students that were on scouting team. That's a very important aspect of our program. Raise your hand, scouters. They actually designed their own scouting app to watch other robots and actually, well, during the competition, if they're in a position to be an alliance captain, they have to know what robots would complement their own. And so they actually wrote and designed their own app to be able to do that and then took data during the competition. And then, of course, we have the Impact team. Raise your hand, Impact folks. Got lots of folks there. So the Impact Award has a lot of aspects to it. There is a separate application that the students have to complete prior to even going to competition with the robot. There is a 10,000 character essay, 13 executive summary questions that they have to prepare, a professional 7-minute presentation that they have to prepare, and a 3-minute video. And that video has nothing to do, and this presentation has nothing to do with the robot itself, but it has to do with impact. Okay, so I want to read the description to the first Impact Award. So the way it works is you have to win the Impact Award at a regional competition, and then you get invited to the World Championships to compete for the Impact Award at the World Championship. Out of 600 teams that were competing in the first robotics competition, 85 of those were competing for the Impact Award. And your Coconino Coconuts were selected to win the Impact Award this year. So this is the description. Yeah! The Impact Award is the most prestigious award at FIRST. It honors the team that best represents a model for other teams to emulate and best embodies the purpose and goals of FIRST. The FIRST Impact Award is presented to the team judged to have the most significant, measurable impact of its partnerships among its participants and community over a sustained period, not just a single build season. The winner is able to demonstrate progress towards FIRST mission of transforming our culture. And this is what they read at World Championship. The recipient team will be invited to the 2025 FIRST Championship and is now a member of the FIRST Hall of Fame. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like to turn it over to our students that are going to go ahead and present our Impact Award presentation so you can see what it is that they did to earn this recognition. I will say Kate is subbing in for Tani today. Tani is homesick today, but Tani was one of our presenters at World Championships as well, but Kate was able to sub in for just a little bit. So I'm going to turn it over to the Coconuts.
Hi, I'm Kate Garrison.
Jag är Elena Kloppenstein-Inishya.
Marunam Rihanna Patalche. Our crescendos start with us, the students.
Our path will always be a struggle. We find our reasons to stay.
Because we are the Coconuts. And together we've learned.
Half the Coconuts are people of color, and many of us didn't have STEM access growing up. To bring STEM closer to the kids that need it most, we created a Tembian para Hacer and Zidane People Are the Future STEM Fairs. In the past 3 years, we have reached over 800 kids from Title I elementary schools.
To keep our efforts sustainable, we empower new members to take ownership of our outreach, like a nut. Training to take over a STEM fair after only being a member for 3 weeks. Because the Coconuts are such an integral part of our community, my teacher encouraged me to switch schools and join them. He knew that they could help me reach my fullest potential.
The Coconuts are tireless in our mission to bring STEM to all, from pasta towers to catapults to junkyard robots, parades to the county fair and the Super Bowl. We have reached 47,000 people at over 100 events in the last 3 years. We are combining our favorite STEM activities into a children's coloring book that is a wonderfully inventive tale of robots, squirrels, and nutty adventures. And last month, Flagstaff recognized us as champions for STEM equity by naming us STEM Community Partner of the Year.
The Coconuts are FTC's program delivery organization for the entire state of Arizona, a role usually filled by colleges and nonprofits. We allocate funds to all aspects of running a tournament, traveling the team to events, and training new host teams and volunteers until that tournament has its very own sustainable volunteer base. We keep the cost of AZFTC low and provide a registration relief grant for teams in need. In the past 3 years, we have donated $2,700 to 19 teams.
This season, we created 2 new FTC qualifiers to give rural teams easier access to competition. We've helped teams go from box to bot in less than an hour and created engineering portfolios from scratch. In the last year alone, we've had 21 new teams for a total of 87 competing in 10 statewide qualifiers. 48 teams took center stage at our 2-division state championship. Refereeing and queuing at these tournaments has allowed me to become the role model I always wanted. Others can see a successful colored girl in STEM and know that they too can do hard things.
We go the distance to support FIRST at all levels across Arizona. Every team deserves an expert, dedicated coach, but they can be hard to find. So we created FL in a Nutshell to coach coaches on the intricacies of running teams. Nutshell resulted in 21 new teams in the past 3 years, and attending teachers can earn 12 professional development hours. We mentor 16 FLL and FTC teams in Flagstaff, and in the last 3 years, we've run 34 FIRST events and supported 35 others, for a total of 12,500 hours. That's equivalent to volunteering almost a year and a half straight.
3 years ago, we began attending the National Advocacy Conference in Washington, D.C., giving us the honor of representing the entire state of Arizona. Through meeting with Office of Senators Mark Kelly, Kirsten Sinema, and Representative Elijah Crane, we contributed to the passing of the CHIPS Act and fully funding the Every Student Succeeds Act. CHIPS provides funding for after-school STEM programs nationally and creates new tech jobs in Arizona with a brand new microchip facility. NAC is empowering because we can see how our voices can affect change on a national level.
To address Arizona's number 48 ranking in education funding, we created the Arizona Advocacy Conference. Through NAC, we know that more voices result in greater change. So we rallied 7 other FIRST teams from across the state and trained them in the art of advocacy. Teams worked together to demonstrate robots on the Capitol lawn and met with 18 different legislators.
After a day of disheartening conversations, we walked into our penultimate ACT meeting. We discussed our achievements in FIRST with Representative Cook, and he put CPR and the coconuts in the state budget for $30,000 each over the next 3 years. To continue getting teams involved in building relationships with our policymakers, we are hosting the 2nd annual ACT in May. Before joining the coconuts, I never imagined advocating about something that matters, but now I know I can do hard things.
We have seen success with our advocacy efforts, but there are still barriers to STEM that have more complicated solutions. 36% of all Native American students nationwide drop out of school. Less than 3% of people on our reservation ever leave because we love our home. Getting education and coming back is a way I can give back to my people. But since I live on the res, I have to spend over 3 hours on a school bus every day to be part of the coconuts. STEM is just not available here.
Only 0.4% of the STEM workforce is Indigenous, so kids on the res never get to see themselves in STEM. Because this is so important to so many of us, we knew we had to be a part of changing that mindset.
When we met the Navajo Transitional Energy Company, NTEC, we knew we had finally found an ally in our mission. NTEC had the funds, we had the experience. Together, we created Resbotics.
We held a hands-on FTC workshop for 40 new res coaches close to home because the program needs dedicated mentors. But we knew our support could not just end there.
Tribal delegates only meet every 3 months, so getting funding for teams is a long and difficult process. To make things a little bit easier, we advocated to FIRST for rookie grants to cover registration fees, and NTEC sponsored the robot kits for 12 new teams.
Because the Navajo Nation is larger than the state of West Virginia, these teams are hundreds of miles from each other and the nearest tournament. We built a reliable communication network for these coaches so they had a reliable resource.
However, there is still this long-standing mindset that we don't belong. Reservation teams feel intimidated by more experienced outside teams. FTC Team Tonkus arrived reluctant to compete, but we empowered them to try. They competed at their next event, but showed up with a bot made of illegal parts. We helped them rebuild their bot and get them ready for their 3rd qualifier.
The Coconuts hosted the first ever all-Indigenous qualifier on the Navajo Nation at Dene College in Saley for over 150 students. By hosting this tournament on the res, we leveled the playing field and reduced travel times for teams by an average of 6 hours. Team Tonkus ended up being captain of the winning alliance, and this is just one example of a res team whose narrative has changed from we can't to we can.
We even got the vice president of the Navajo Nation to this tournament. We've begun changing the minds and hearts of not only the students, but the tribal elders. And to rally Native communities behind STEM success, we advocated FIRST to let us send the Inspire Award winner, Roxas on Tech, to World Championship.
When I became a coconut, for the first time in my life, it wasn't enough to show up and participate. I was expected and encouraged to be better. By helping to create Resbotics, I am showing my people that they are capable of far more than they believe they are, because we can do hard things. This is the dawn of a new era for STEM education on the reservation. We are applying to grants to fund more teams, recruiting more schools next week, and bridging that cultural gap between the res and FIRST.
Through all of our hard work, every member of this team has had their lives changed.
Who would have thought that my words could show kids that they really could do STEM?
Who would have thought that a girl from the res could be a Dean's List finalist?
Who would have thought that the little me could drive a Mars rover and see that her dreams are possible?
So let's take a deep breath. We're going to crescendo again, together, because I can do hard things.
Yego shilnat ago deathyas.
Hum sakata vastu karya sakechum.
We can do hard things.
Excellent. Excellent. Wow. Your team has been impressive for many years, but this level of leadership and spreading the resources and empowering other teams is really above and beyond. You guys are awesome. Councilmember Harris?
You are absolutely amazing, and I am so proud of every one of you for taking on this challenge. It's not often that young people your age think about students of color and people of color and trying to do something to even that field. And so I applaud you for your courage in taking on this challenge. I would like to also ask my colleagues if we could consider giving them some of the funds that we may have in our fund resources. But that's something that we need to discuss at another time. But I just want to put that out there. I think you deserve it, and as much as we can do to help you, I would like for us to do that. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. That was not only very impressive, it was very emotional and very inspiring. I'm really excited for you guys. Also been following you for years. I didn't speak earlier because I knew I was going to speak at this point, but I do want to thank CJ and also you, Christine, and all of the teachers and adults and mentors that are involved in this process. You give a lot of your time and energy and personal funds, I'm sure, over to this process. And I am just so proud to be a member of Flagstaff, a community that has created not one but two of these amazing teams. We have some really exceptional youth coming up through the ranks here. It's very encouraging and very heartwarming. I also want to speak from a point of personal privilege. It's my job as an uncle to embarrass my nephew. I don't know if you guys know this, but Eugene is my nephew. So, yeah, I've known Eugene his whole life. And I've followed these goings on distantly, but with a great deal of interest. You know, when Eugene was a little baby, he liked to stick things in light sockets. Every time I saw him, he was playing with plugs, he was playing with extension cords or light sockets. And, you know, I told myself, I said, if this guy doesn't electrocute himself, he's going places. And I know your parents, they're obviously part of your inspiration. You don't fall very far from the tree in that regard. But just so super impressed. And, you know, I nudged my own kids a couple times over the years. I said, you guys stay close to Eugene, treat him nicely, and go to all his birthday parties because he's the next Elon Musk. I assume that all of you will be able to serve our community and our nation in a capacity like that someday. Thank you very much. Councilmember Harris, I had the same idea. I was going to mention something similarly that, you know, we're coming to the end of the budgetary cycle for this year for our discretionary fund, but keeping these groups in mind for some of our discretionary spending is right in line. Great minds think alike, obviously. And we should definitely keep that in mind. Thank you so much. Very impressed, very heartwarmed, very encouraged, and just so proud of you.
Councilmember House.
I'm going to try not to get super emotional as I'm talking to you, but wow. I mean, absolutely wow. That was beyond amazing. It was inspiring. It was moving. I am so impressed by you all. The idea of you bringing this to people who never thought that they were capable, who never had access, who never saw this for their future and their paths is, I don't know if any of us can fully appreciate the impact that has, not just for generations now, but generations down the line. And that is just so powerful. I always joke that I was an English major for a reason. It's because math was not my forte. As soon as I tested out of it, I was done. And this has me very much regretting that, very much regretting that I didn't pursue more of mathematics and the sciences and all of those things, because I see just the impressive work that you can do, and the blending of that work with your advocacy and with the moves that you're making for the future is so powerfully impressive to me. I applaud you for the rest of this week, for the rest of my life probably, just from the impact of what you all have shared today. So kudos to you. Please keep going in this work that you're doing, and never stop believing in what's possible, because I think the world is yours for the taking. So thank you.
Councilmember Sweet. Thank you, Mayor. I also know Eugene, and I told my son growing up, stick with him. He's going places, so a little embarrassing fact there. The amount of talent in this room is just unimaginable for me, and I mean, I did some cool things when I was younger, but not like this. You all are changing the world. You changed our perspective on things tonight, and I just appreciate your presentations and all of your dedication and making a difference, and keep going. Keep going. You are the leaders. I'm looking at you, and I expect to see you up here and in our community down the road, today and down the road. Thank you. Councilmember McCarthy.
Well, thank you, Mayor. As I said to the other team, you guys are future leaders of America. And I'm just going to mention that I'm a mechanical engineer. Before I got into politics, I was a mechanical engineer, spent my whole career in aerospace engineering. And where am I going with this? So I have a lot of respect for STEM. I take it very seriously. It's very important. But I've also noticed that your team has gone beyond STEM, technology, science, engineering. You've gone beyond that. You've gone into some of the social things, addressing social issues, getting people to communicate with each other. I think in some ways those things are even harder to learn and to be good at than science and technology. So I really compliment you for that. And I just want to stress that I think some of those social skills are just as important as those technical skills. And sometimes engineers can be kind of real linear, but they need to broaden out a little bit and address broader issues. And you guys have done that, and I'm impressed by that. Thank you.
Councilmember Matthews.
Thank you, Mayor. They said it all, but I just wanted to also thank all of you and invite you back to give us updates. This is so refreshing and so just is the best council meeting we've had, I think. Just seeing this is just very encouraging, so thank you so much.
You can do hard things.
Yes, you can. And Mayor, if I might, I'd just like to close with a few kind of thoughts on your remarks and stuff as well, if I could. This is the reason why I keep coming back. This team, we started this team 17 years ago, and they have persistently been pursuing this mission every year. And they have represented Flagstaff every year for the last 17 years at World Championships. And because of this award, they now get to represent Flagstaff guaranteed for the next 10 years at World Championships. They get an invitation at World Championships for the next 10 years. Dave and I are the most visible kind of members of that because we've been here the whole time and everything. I call my job on the team less, let's say kind of more of a coach and a facilitator, but really their agent, kind of getting them out there to do presentations like this and things. So we are seen very prominently in the community and at all these events and everything, but we can't do it alone. And we don't do it alone. So you can see up there the list of sponsors that have supported the team this year and our mission to bring STEM to people who don't have access to it yet. But also in the audience, I'd also like to recognize we have several parents who we call our peanuts. and several of our graduates, who I like to call our alum nuts, because everything is better with a nut pun. And just to kind of touch on a few kind of fun nut statistics that we couldn't quite squeeze into our presentation, every single one of the members of the Coconuts graduates from high school. And every single one of them that wants it can go on to a four-year university or to a community college of their choosing. Every single one of them has that opportunity. And of those students, over a third of them are the first in their family to attend college. And so this program changes lives, and that's why I put in, I'm gonna say thousands and thousands of hours into this program, because it does change the lives of these young people. So thank you for your support. Thank you for having us here today. Thank you to all the businesses and the Flagstaff community really for sponsoring us and for supporting us and really believing in our mission of these amazing young people.
Thank you. Can we have all of you come down here so we can give you this recognition? Yeah, maybe way back there. I'm just kidding. Yeah, you can, anywhere you can fit. We're going to have to squeeze in. Yeah. And you can.
Double up here.
Yeah. Oh, wait, stand on this side here.
Okay.
He's a tall one.
All right. The City of Flagstaff recognizes the dedication and perseverance it takes to compete at the first robotics competition World Championship and to receive the 2024 Impact Award, as well as being inducted into the first Hall of Fame. The Coconino High School Coconuts are an amazing team, and we look forward to your future accomplishments. The Coconuts won STEM Community Partner of the Year at the 2023-2024 STEMI Awards. Two of our Coconuts were finalists for STEM Student of the Year, Tawny Slade, who is not here with us, and Eugene Ellsworth Bowers. Okay, now I'm going to try my best with this last name. Elena Klopfenstein was also named a first Dean's List finalist at our tournament in Phoenix. The team also won the Judges Award at the Arizona Regional and the Creativity Award in Las Vegas, where they also captained the second place alliance in the playoffs. The City of Flagstaff is extremely proud of the Coconuts team. Sean, did you get it? Okay. All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much.
You guys want to start heading out? Thank you, Christine.
So, staff, what you got for us the rest of the meeting? Okay, we'll go ahead and move down to April work anniversaries.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. We've got our April work anniversaries to celebrate with you today. Again, the first couple slides are those employees who have celebrated their first year with the city. You'll see some from our police department, Parks, Recreation, Open Space, and Events. Also the library and our fire department and community development. And those are our individuals that we congratulate on their first year with the city of Flagstaff. We have our 5-year anniversaries. The first is Jessica. She's one of our librarians. Also celebrating 5 years is Luke, one of our firefighter paramedics. Brandon, also another one of our firefighters, celebrating his 5th year with the city. Richard Tutwiler, which we heard earlier this week that he has accepted another opportunity, is being promoted in another agency to library director. So excited to celebrate his 5 years and also his next wonderful opportunity, but we are sad to see him leave our organization. Continuing on with our 5-year anniversaries, Eric is one of our equipment operators over in Public Works. And we have Kyle, one of our firefighters, also celebrating 5 years. And Officer Temperi with our police department is celebrating his 10th year with the city of Flagstaff. I believe he was in the back of the room earlier, but he has moved outside. So if you get to see him, please congratulate him on his 10 years. Kevin is also one of our employees in Public Works, celebrating his 10th year. And then moving on to our 25-year anniversaries, we're celebrating Battalion Chief Dave Wilson. This is a quote who was provided by Chief Gaylord. He talks about Battalion Chief Wilson as being a rock-steady leader for us within the fire department. In addition to responsibility commanding a shift, he's one of the regional coaches that supports the Fire Officer Leadership Program, as well as the Special Operations Chief with management responsibilities, supporting the technical rescue and hazardous material team. We're lucky to have Battalion Chief Wilson as one of our leaders. So congratulations to Mr. Wilson. We also have Mike Brem, who is celebrating his 30 years with the city of Flagstaff, quite a feat. He joined the city in April of '94. Since then, he's been part of every technology advancement within the library. He supports the public computer labs as well as the staff computing environment, so both internal and external customers. His recent accomplishments include migrating the library core system to COA. It's a new open source ILS that is IT speak, and so we'd have to look to CJ or maybe Mike to help explain what that is. But it not only involved migrating the library catalog and user databases, but also moving the ILS into the cloud environment. He also migrated the library's instance of Microsoft 365, including Outlook, our email supporting system, and again, a new system in the cloud for those tools. He has supported various grant-funded technology projects, and overall, his success is based on not only what he brings to technology, but also his people skills. His broad experience makes him a valuable asset to our libraries, and the downtown library was the first public library in Arizona to offer internet access, and it was the year that Mike started with the city.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Mike, and congratulations, Flagstaff Public Library.
So those are our April anniversaries that we have for you today. We'll be back again in a few weeks to celebrate May.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention very impressive individuals, especially for the firefighters, but also very impressive photos. It looks like there was a photo shoot at some point there, and I'm assuming that a calendar is on the...
A lot of photos for them.
I don't need a calendar, but I'm sure a lot of people would enjoy a calendar. And then just a suggestion for Mike to bring back the Dewey Decimal Card system. I really miss that.
Thanks, Vice Mayor Aslan.
Thank you so much, Shannon.
Yes.
All right. Moving down to item number 8, consideration and approval of contract with Yellow Jacket Drilling. Does staff have any presentation at all? Okay. And the contract is, of course, attached to the agenda. Are there any questions or comments, council? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the construction contract.
Mayor, I'll move to approve the construction contract with Yellow Jacket Drilling, LLC, in an amount not to exceed $650,000 and authorize the city manager to execute the necessary documents.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. So I am adjourning that meeting and calling to order our work session and giving notice to the public that the city council may vote to go into executive session, which will not be open to the public, for discussion and consultation with the city's attorneys for legal advice on any item listed on the following agenda. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. On to the city manager's report. You know, it's going to be very challenging for any of us to present after what Council just had presented. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. But the manager's report this time around, I want to thank both Joanne and Shannon for their contributions, as always, on this. Just some random updates. HR Director of Recruitment, we're busy. There's been a number of interviews. They are pending. There will be additional interviews. And stay tuned on this. Hopefully we'll have some news in the near future on this very important recruitment. I will note, we think we'll be successful in filling this spot hopefully soon. It will bring about a leadership team that is fully slated for the first time in a long time. So we're all anxious and excited at the same time. A recap of the budget retreat, and along with that, our heartfelt thanks to the council for not just your attendance. We've asked for a lot of your attendance during these retreats, but really your participation and engagement. It was a very successful 2-day retreat, and we look forward now to bringing the budget process to finality in the weeks ahead, and we can all take a big sigh of relief when that happens. It will be the culmination of several months of effort, so looking forward to that. I want to mention something that happened behind the scenes back on April 23rd. Council may be aware of this, but we had a number of staff present to the Coconino Flood Control District, County Board of Supervisors, sitting as the district, and provide a very thorough presentation on the Rio de Flag flood control project that the city is pursuing in partnership with with BNSF and the Army Corps of Engineers, and other partners. It was a great presentation. Ed Schenk kind of kicked it off, but I think there was a team of people behind him, figuratively helping with the presentation, and it was very well received. Good questions asked, nice dialogue that followed. Along with that, we were there to also witness the U.S. Forest Service providing on a presentation on forest health and the many pending forest management contracts. So it was good, to say the least. It was very informative. Thanks to Ed Schenk and the team for representing the city quite well. We, of course, also represented Flagstaff in Washington, D.C. a week ago, and that was great. I don't want to recap in the report. Just to remind you of the many things we did, there is the agenda. It was a very busy day and a half, to say the least.
and we covered a lot of ground. Bob Holmes and Anna, of course, orchestrating all the many meetings, and it was, I think, all very important, very meaningful on so many fronts, but just in terms of the relationship building and the continued cultivation of our good standing with our delegates in Washington, D.C. It was great. I also included a bunch of photographs. They're all great photographs of the group, sometimes individually, sometimes all of us collectively enjoy those photographs, and it'll bring back some not too distant memories. Thank you again for all who helped put this together. And I think Flagstaff did a great job representing our community in the nation's capital. There's a little tidbit on the upcoming election and some volunteer efforts underway, tidbit on housing. And then I provided, again, courtesy of Joanne and those in capital projects, an update, a very nice update on the Beulah University realignment project. Enjoy the photographs there. I think we're also going to have a video, and I might stop here and have Paul cue up the video, and then I'll hop back up and finish the report after this. Is that okay, Paul?
Yep. Thank you, Greg. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council Member. Again, it's hard to follow up that presentations you had earlier. I was chatting with the students about their trip to NASA. It's quite fascinating. We'll try our best, but here's a quick video of Beulah Boulevard, Beulah and University update. It's going to start at the southern end of the project, Beulah, head north, and then it's going to turn east towards Milton. You'll see that this video was taken yesterday. You'll see the trees in the parkway are going in. They're finishing up the subgrade. They're going to start paving in the next few weeks. I was told they're going to not pave out to Milton because they don't want people to see that road and inadvertently drive in there. And then when it gets to Milton, you'll see the ramp for the underpass, and then you'll be able to see the saw cuts in Milton where they've been relocating utilities. And we got some really good music this time.
Did we get permission to use that music?
Pardon me?
Did we get permission to use that music?
Yeah, it comes. I guess I talked to David Peterson. There's like 25 music options you can choose from.
Okay, good.
He wanted me to rent a tuxedo to present, so it could be 007. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Love the music. Yeah, that was great. Nice to get these updates. I took one quick photograph of the Linda Vista culvert. I was out there recently. I gave some props at the last meeting to the team out there. They continue also to just do remarkable things with the many, many projects involved with the spruce wash and working with the neighborhood out there. But construction is underway. I know you can't see it because the road is closed. So maybe we'll get some drone footage out there sometime soon, and we'll get that in front of council. That is not it on the report, I'm going to add a couple of items and ask Shannon Anderson to head back to the podium. These are add-ons, so you're not going to see them in the report. This is verbal from here on out, but we have something here involving our police chief that we'd like to bring to your attention, and then a water line break update. Shannon?
Thanks, Greg. I've got just some slides that I've put together to share this fun information with you. Sorry, I'm not sure. There we go. Try this again. So Chief Musselman was recognized by NAU's Department of Politics and International Affairs this last week on Thursday. He received the MPA Public Service Award in recognition of his 28 years of dedication to this organization and this community. Being able to address our crime rates, being able to bring new resolutions such as the care unit into our community, and so many wonderful things that he's done each and every day as he comes to work with his dedication and his desire to serve this community. So wanted to make sure that you had an opportunity to hear about this. Chief is, of course, hiding in the back of the room. Also want to give a shout out to Water Services. As you're aware, last Tuesday we had a water main break on 4th Street, which certainly was challenging, but then it was greeted with more challenge when a tree fell on a piece of our equipment, our brand new vac trailer. So there's some photos on this first slide with you. There was root damage, obviously, causing the tree to fall, and then also there were gas line impacts that also were in this area once they were able to dig up the water line. Several businesses were impacted by the shutoff, but staff went door to door to let them know what was happening and what they were going to be doing to fix it. They worked diligently until the service was turned on for most everyone on Thursday and for the one remaining business on Friday. So just a few more photos to share with you. Also want to take the opportunity to express appreciation to the fire department and Public Works. They were able to help make sure that staff were safe with making sure the tree was removed and that the other one was taken down so there wasn't risk of the other tree falling while they continued to work in this area. So just a shout out to all of our city staff who were involved. They did a tremendous job here and as quickly as possible to make sure that our businesses didn't go without service. So thanks for letting me add that.
Thank you, Shannon. Great updates on both accounts. Thank you so much. Council, appended to this report, we have 2 additional updates for you. We're going to have Rebecca with PROS come up and give you the April update, and then we will also have an update from Human Resources. Rebecca?
I'm just going to move this because this is awkward. I'm going to try to move it. Hopefully I don't disconnect anything. All right. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Rebecca Sayers, Parks, Rec, Open Space, and Events Director. We'll get through this pretty quickly today. I'm going to make it a little bit for you. At the beginning of April, and this is our April report, at the beginning of April, we took a day where all of our full-time benefit-eligible staff came together, which is no small feat. That means we had to get out early and make sure that trash was still picked up and bathrooms were reopened for the day and all of those things, that all of our rec centers were still covered. And we came together for some team building with Lancaster leadership and also to develop our division's brand new mission, vision, and values. So you can see those here, and because I'm trying to work to memorize all of them, I'm going to try to say it without looking, that our mission, and see now I'm nervous, so I'm not going to remember. connecting our community through people, parks, natural areas, and programs, right? Our values, I'm still working on our vision statement, but creating unique experiences and places to play. I just love that. That's so simple and fun at the same time. And it was also interesting, some of the conversation around creating that vision is that the team feels that it also still includes our cemetery, which is a very important part of our team. But so much of our work is about fun times and places to play. And we still have a cemetery, which is a very different experience and takes a very different hand at the work that we do there. And this vision still seems to capture that with unique experiences. In our values, our community enrichment, conservation, all-inclusive, and authenticity. And I just love that the team came up with these all on their own. I was so proud. It was a great day and really great participation, even from some who are typically very uncomfortable in those kinds of situations. They would rather be out working with their hands in the field, right? So much appreciation to that team. Here we all are. Rehearsing our lines. And so thanks for everyone for that. As usual, our trail counts are here. The popular trails are still popular, and not much new information here. Our turf crew is, as I said, they want to be out doing their stuff. This is an important time of year as well, getting all of our turf up and going. So our turf crew is in full swing, and listed here are all of the and I think our turf crew right now is a person of one for all of the mowing, all of our parks, all of our athletic fields, right? And they not only mow, they also do all these other things. So much appreciation when you see these folks out working. They're doing 2 and 3 jobs because we're impacted by staffing just like everyone else. But this is kind of fun to see. And that's our little tractor. We do have an electric mower. Maybe next time we'll get you a picture of that. We also wanted to recognize the certifications that our parks staff have from CPRP, which is the certification for Parks and Recreation professionals, to wiring, to welding, arborists, turf managers, CDLs, backflow testers, playground safety inspectors. This is very important for the safety of our playgrounds. We inspect all of our playgrounds every 2 weeks, and we document their safety, and we make sure that things are safe. We replace pieces that need to be replaced. We've got master gardeners. Almost all of our parks team is master gardeners. And of course, our hydropoint smart irrigation operations. This alerts us if we have a water break or a valve that's stuck open or closed, or this same system will turn off parts of our irrigation system if there's rain in the area. So this is a very important investment that we've been making, and keeping our staff trained on that is also essential. And we're getting improvements to that program this year with the Noresco contract, so many thanks for that as well. We recently just reopened on Monday our Aquaplex facility closure. This is always a little nerve-wracking, especially for someone like me. And my office is at the Aquaplex, and so I'm kind of walking around going, okay, when are we going to get the pool back open? You know, is it really going to work? And we did. So it's always fun when we get that back open. This year, the J. Lively Ice Arena closure is lasting a full month. We took the ice all the way out. We needed to repaint the lines. We also wanted to get in and see that concrete. I don't think we've taken this ice out for about 10 years. So we need to see how the concrete's doing underneath and get eyes on it. We do have some other bigger things that we're working on repairing out there as well. So this one still has me nervous, just so you know. But we'll make it. We're welcoming back Mark Yarnall To our team, he's the new coordinator over at the Josie Community and Senior Center. And our summer see, this is why we have to be back up and running at the ice rink, is because we have tournaments coming up and camps and all sorts of fun stuff. Recreation also brought back for the first time since pre-pandemic the Daddy-Daughter Ball. That's always a very popular event. We will be working in future years to make this more open and all-inclusive. It's always been all-inclusive, just we got some feedback that the name of it doesn't feel inclusive, so we'll be working on that for future years. And our open space team has been doing some fun stuff. They had a volunteer appreciation luncheon, you can see here. They also took some bins of dirt and plants out, and kids got to dig around and run water through and see erosion, if the channel is straight versus if it's meandering, like it is through Picture Canyon. So that was fun. And then they went out to Picture Canyon to see it for themselves. And of course, summer is coming, so events are coming back. We've got concerts in the park starting up in June. And you've got some statistics here on what events and marketing has been working on. We've also got some other programming that's starting up that's lots of fun. And I think I will leave it there unless there are any questions.
Thank you so much. Council, questions, comments? Just, Councilman,
I love
City
it.
Manager.
I just got a raise. I'm a council person. I wonder. Thank you, Mayor.
You just took a cut and pay.
Yes, but the honor. I do have a comment as we're sitting here watching this and listening to this wonderful update from PROS, and it follows many previous updates just like this one. You know, it was not that long ago when it was the Parks and Rec section under the Public Works umbrella. Not that long ago, and out of that came a restructure of the organization, and PROS became a standalone division, kind of its own entity. And you know, that was followed by a lot of things, budgetarily, staffing, more restructures within the division. Rebecca was honored with the Mary Jo Jenkins Leadership Award, I think the year subsequent to that. And we just continued to see this amazing growth of PROS. And so as we sit and watch these updates, it's rather, it's gratifying, but it's actually kind of just really cool to see how the division has grown and the many, many things that are happening. It's not to suggest those things were not happening before, but it is to suggest that there's been such tremendous growth. And now a new mission statement and values and all of these things, just one more wonderful chapter in the evolution of this great division. So that's my comment.
Thank you for that, Councilmember, City Manager.
Yeah. I'm running with that. The nameplate will be ordered, and yeah.
Either way.
Either way. I think we also, thank you, Rebecca. I think we also have an update from Human Resources. I hope. And if not, we can punt it to next time. I know we had an update. It's in your report, but we might have that presentation occur at the next work session, if that's okay. Thank you. And that concludes my report.
Thank you so much. Council members, any questions or comments about any of that? All right, thank you very much. We will move now to Mountain Line Today and Beyond, updates and transit tax discussion. Welcome, Mountain Line.
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. My name is Heather Donlin, and I'm sorry I'm not a coconut because I went to the other high school. I serve as Mountain Line CEO and General Manager for Mountain Line Flagstaff Transit System. I'm joined today by Busy Collins, our Strategic Planner, and Ann Dunno, our Capital Development Manager. We are grateful for the time you are offering us this evening to give you a look at Mountain Line's recent performance statistics, to share an update on the progress and timing of our Downtown Connection Center, and to talk about our financial picture. And with that, Busy is going to start the presentation, and we'll just do a little round robin.
Thank you. Hello, thank you for having us here today. I'm going to start with some, no, that's not how you do it. Oh, it's a scroll, that's right. Financial and service performance benchmarks. So here we're looking at, so we have 2019, so kind of our pre-COVID on the left, compared with our last year actual full 2023, compared to our FY24 goal. And then I just want to point out the FY24 actual is only half of the year. It's only July to December of 2023. So as you see those numbers, and some of them look very bad, it's only half of the year. So please don't get nervous. And just a note, so to start out with, in the orange box, fixed route, the buses, big blue buses that you see everywhere, our actual is not quite trending to the halfway mark of that goal, of that 2 million goal. So our ridership projections are made using anticipated service levels, and when I made that projection of over 2 million for FY24, we were still in full service levels. We are currently in reduced service levels, and so that has definitely impacted our ridership. And but even with that, we still saw an 8% increase over FY23 in our current FY24 year. This is only 65% of pre-COVID ridership, so we're still building that ridership back. Again, service levels is a big part of that. But we do anticipate returning to pre-COVID level ridership by FY25, so next year. Again, assuming that we will have full service out there. That's a big caveat there. Moving on to, let's see, actually another item on this, cost per hour, I just want to point out, it has increased over the years. I think you all saw that in your budget retreat as well. You know, wage costs, insurance costs, gasoline costs are our biggest drivers in those bottom line costs to provide bus service, and you're seeing that in the cost per hour. It's definitely increased. And then last item on fixed route bus, I want to point out that 23.48 passengers per hour. So that is the full system. When we break that out per route, per each of the 9 routes, it's more like 20-ish per hour for those routes. With Route 10 that serves NAU, it's up to 58 passengers per hour. So it definitely is very deceiving in that 23. It looks so small, but when you break it out per route, we really have a very healthy ridership on our buses per hour. And then I'm going to move on to demand response, so our paratransit. This is for individuals who are not able to utilize the fixed route system. And what you can't see here is total trips. We actually had a 14% decrease in our paratransit trips. And we were looking into why that is. But we do think that our paratransit clients have the ability to take a taxi program. It's same-day service. It's just more flexible for those individuals. So we do suspect that our taxi program is helping to offset some of those paratransit trips, reducing our overall count, which, again, it's a very costly service. As you can see here, cost per trip $90, cost per hour $158, for just a handful of individuals per those hours. So it's great that we are supporting our paratransit individuals with that taxi program, and still making sure that we are supporting our paratransit individuals on our service. Next item, let's see, yes, and so I wanted to share some of our peers. So these are peer groups, transit agencies in other locations. So some of them are aspirational, like Lubbock, Texas is huge, right? And we have Tucson, very large. So we have some aspirational places, and then other places that are more similar size to us, like Logan, Utah is about similar size to Flagstaff. So it's kind of exciting to see. And again, this is old data, FY22. But I think it's a really good snapshot of coming out of COVID and how we are comparing with other agencies around the country. And I really like that we kind of fall in the middle to top, especially boardings per capita. I love that we are just winning, I'd say, among our peers for boardings per capita. So per capita is our total boardings divided by the population of Flagstaff. So try to get that down to a per person, like what is the transit system doing for each individual. So kind of interesting there. I also have peer agency on paratransit. So again, we like to see our cost per hour, that top left graph, somewhere in the middle, or maybe a little bit on the leading edge there, number 3 among our peers. Our paratransit, our passengers per hour, where we could do a little better. I think trying to increase the number of people that are on our buses. And then the boardings per capita, I mean, it's a little different for paratransit, but overall we're pretty small numbers compared to our peers. So kind of interesting information there. And that's all that I have. I'd be happy to answer any questions before I hand it over to Ann to talk about the Downtown Connection Center.
Thank you. Council, any questions or comments before we move on? All right, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. A brief update on the Downtown Connection Center. As many of you are aware, this is a multi-year phased project. This is phase 1. Many of you were at our groundbreaking last spring. This is a multi-grant funded project with Federal Transit Administration, local transit tax, the donation of the land value from the city. This is city property, and then a one-time funding with Arizona, the state of Arizona. What you're seeing here is a panoramic view of essentially the block that's going up. No, we do not have a curved wall. It is a panoramic view. But there's just great progress really in this last year. Kudos to our team. It's a complex project in a tight area, working with city staff, our contractor Lovin, HDR, Ardura, and Nations Group, our project team. So we're making great project and steady project progress. Oops. I am scrolling. Sorry. And there it is. Okay. Really quick, the materials of this building are unique for Flagstaff. We are building a cross-laminated timber building, which is really the structural frame of the building. You're going, instead of being buried behind gypboard and other materials, you're going to see a lot of the structure of the building, similar a little to City Hall, but it'll also extend outside. We also have materials that you see on the left side, that's the mock-up. There is a kind of a faux stone, but then there's also the wall, CMU wall, that's going to be exposed in the lobby and certain parts of the building. We are striving for a Coconino County Sustainable Gold level, working with the county on that, which is great. We're going to have a boiler system that is pretty unique, and some other features, solar, that will be on the buildings. And then the next phase, what you're seeing here, is phase 2. This is the fully funded phase that would include the operations hub and the civic space. A little bit, I kind of go back to what the coconut said. We can do hard things because this is not an easy project. If we were just doing this one project, maybe it would be a little easier, but we are, there's a major, some of you might have heard, there's a flood control project that's happening soon, and we are working really hard behind the scenes with city staff and management to coordinate our project with the Rio de Flag. Phase 1, or I should say phase 2, the interim stage, we're working to develop an interim ops center. So what you're seeing here is the ultimate build out, but we are developing an interim solution to kind of be in place for 2 to 3 years during Rio construction. And then after about 2028, we anticipate being able to come in after the Rio and build the ultimate phase, which is 13 bus bays, and would have electric vehicle charging, and then a civic space also would follow. That we would work with the city after the floodplain is remapped. And with that, concludes my presentation.
Council, questions, comments? Councilmember Sweet?
I just have a quick comment. I've been on this on many different levels from the beginning, and I'm just so excited when I drive by. I love seeing the progress, and I'm just, thank you for working so hard with us. Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I'd add that every time that I've spoken to Representative Cook in the past year, he asks about the Downtown Connection Center and how it's coming along.
Well, I will send him some photos. My staff knows that I like to say we have windows and walls and we have doorways, and like a child with excitement about it. So happy to share that with him. I'm going to move from ridership and projects to really talk about our financial picture. So the elements of this portion of the presentation are here on the screen. We're going to take a look at our 2025 budget and its impact, a review of the status of our transit tax fund balance and the contributing factors, and that is the fund balance held by the City of Flagstaff. A look at our transit plan, which we call Flagstaff in Motion, discuss transit funding needs, and then conclude with a recommendation from Mountain Line regarding a potential ballot question in 2024. I'm going to dump a lot of information on you, so if you would like to ask questions as we go, please just let me know. First, looking at our 2025 budget as compared to our 2024 budget and projections, the transit tax is but one of our funding sources that we use at Mountain Line to meet our overall budgetary needs, but it's crucial to this conversation, so I wanted to demonstrate just the transit tax for the purpose of this presentation. The overall budget increase for all of our programs and services from 24 to 25 is 10%. The contributing factors to that significant increase is our rise in cost of staffing, liability insurance, fuel, parts and supplies, and overall contract cost. An example I would share is 10 years ago, staffing was 50% of our budget. It is now 75% of our operating budget. Transit is a people-intensive business. Additionally, our 2025 budget does include roughly $70 million in completion of capital projects. Majority of those are federally funded, but we do count on the transit tax to provide that local match. So when we look at the total impact on the transit tax for the 2025 budget, it's roughly $4.5 million increase, or 6%. When we look at the transit tax and the impact of 2025 on the transit fund balance, and again, this is the money left at the end of the day, if you will, the blue line does indicate that fund balance that is maintained within the City of Flagstaff. The green line is what Mountain Line's Board of Directors has established as our required fund balance of 25%. I think that's a little bit higher than what the City of Flagstaff has asked us to demonstrate. As you can see in the out years, there is a projected cross of our fund balance and our I forgot to describe. The red line is to illustrate the difference between expenses and incoming revenue. So that big dip in 25 to 26 that takes us below the 0 point, that means I'm using the fund balance to pay for those budgeted or projected expenses in those years. As you can see in the out years, we are projected to cross our fund balance requirement and our overall fund balance in total, and this is really a result of those rising costs that we are seeing. The fund balance is an important tool for us to evaluate when we can make capital improvements, and it ensures that we have the funding necessary to support both our ongoing service commitments and to replace buses as they age. We've been very fortunate as Mountain Line to bring in federal revenue to replace all of our vehicles at 80%. They were all initially purchased with 80% federal funds. They've all been replaced with 80% federal funds. But that is not a guaranteed funding source for us. It is competitive grants. So we do use the fund balance to ensure that we have the funding available to replace those vehicles as they age. I provided this map in your packets. This is our existing service map. It is actually from our existing rider guide. And before I talk about Flagstaff in Motion and our 5-year plan, I wanted to briefly pull up our existing service map and walk you through it. We currently have 9 routes. Frequency, which is how often the bus comes, varies from 60 minutes on the orange route that serves Cheshire to 30 minutes on the red line that runs across town on Route 66 to 8 minutes on Route 10, which is the maroon route serving the NAU campus from Woodlands Village to downtown. Mountain Line has not made any significant changes to service in many years. I actually think the last service improvement we made was when we added Route 14 in 2014. So Flagstaff in Motion is our most recent 5-year transit plan. It was adopted by our board in 2023. And this is just a scenario from that map. This is what we call our transit vision. And the first thing we'd like to do with that, with our 5-year plan, is to look at what's broken or what is missing. This includes additional bus stops and improvements to allow better access to transit. Route 2, it's kind of in the middle of town. This is the deviation that we make on the Mesa to serve Basis School. We would be looking at improvements that allow us to be a permanent part of that routing structure every day. Increased frequency on Route 14 and Route 7. Both of those routes need additional service. But then we also looked at what is missing to the overall system. And one of the things we know is that we need to increase frequency across the system. So remember that orange route that goes all the way to Cheshire? If you don't get on that bus, you have an hour wait until the next bus comes. If you want to change people's behavior around transit, it has to be as convenient as the car. And this 5-year plan really allows us to address that. It also allows us to expand the service day and increase how long we have peak frequency available. So off-peak frequency timing is different than on-peak frequency timing. I know that's a lot of jargon, and I apologize. And additionally, the 5-year plan does give us the opportunity to look at revenue for new services that we don't already have in this community. And I'm not going to define those, because what we're really looking for is to have the funding available for when there is a service need. Imagine if we'd had this conversation 5 years ago, how different our approach could have been in supporting the relocation of the hospital with transit service. When we finished the transit plan, we looked at what funding would be necessary to implement all of the service changes, and so this is the full plan. We really need about 8 cents on a $100 purchase just to pay for service as it exists today. That's to catch up with all of the cost increases that we're seeing. We need an additional 21.5 cents on a $100 purchase to implement all the things in Flagstaff in Motion. So I'm just going to acknowledge that is a doubling of the existing tax. Our next step was to actually call for a citizen review commission that looked at the plan and looked at the funding scenario. We started this process several months ago. We assembled 9 community members to participate in this review commission. I'm sorry, I called it a commission, it was a committee, that really provided a review of the plan and a review of the funding. They met 3 separate times to learn about transit and the 5-year plan, to look at our financial data, but ultimately, and to evaluate public input, which was being done concurrent with these review committee meetings. And the goal was that they would come up with what is the reasonable ask of the city of Flagstaff. As mentioned, we did do surveys while we were going. We started with phone surveys. There were 400 surveys completed, and you can see here how support was identified through those surveys and its decrease as the amount increased. We then followed up. I want to say those phone surveys were done without any information about what we were trying to do. It was strictly a, do you use transit and would you support changes? We then did a virtual open house, which provided more information on Flagstaff in Motion, on the 5-year plan and what we are trying to do. We had over 2,000 visitors visit that virtual open house. 170 of those actually went all the way through and completed a survey. And 75% or more are supportive of anywhere from 20 to 25 cents on a $100 purchase increase to the existing tax. So we did take this information back to the committee, the review committee that we had assembled, and the refined funding ask that they supported is the 8 cents needed to close our revenue gap, and then 12.5 cents on a $100 purchase, which really gives us the opportunity to increase the majority of the items found in the 5-year plan, prioritizing increased frequency, longer hours, and service to unserved areas. And I want to say that this funding is designed to ensure we collect the capital, the revenue, and apply it to the capital expenditures before we roll out service. So this does account for new buses, new bus stops, and other capital needs. So the recommendation that was mailed to you this morning is to formally request that the City of Flagstaff send a single question to voters on November 5th, 2024, to both extend and expand the existing transit sales tax as follows. Extend the tax to June 30 of 2040. The current tax sunsets in 2030. And to expand the tax rate from 29.5 cents to 50 cents on a $100 purchase. The expanded funding will support increased transit service as described and prioritized in the 5-year transit plan. Excuse me. I did provide in the staff report that we worked with Rick to submit to you some alternatives for your consideration. We do not ultimately recommend any of these because they don't get us where we need to be in being prepared for what's next in our community. And with that, I have one closing remark if I can find it. Sorry. So again, I'll just pull up the recommendation that we have made, or I won't because it's not in this presentation. I'll go back to it, sorry. The change recommended is key to Mountain Line's ability to be responsive to the city's climate action plan and the anticipated outcome of the regional plan. Transit is one of the foremost solutions of these plans, and we need to be ready to respond and be part of implementation strategies. We don't have funding for service changes like frequency that are key to behavior changes, which are important to the success of those plans. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much for getting us where we need to be.
That's right.
Questions, comments? Thank you. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Heather, so much. You probably know this, but it's worth stating out loud. I will always be supportive of expansions of our transit efforts here in Flagstaff. I think we're behind the times. We need to catch up and we need to show leadership. Some of those alternatives are interesting to me. I wanted to ask you where you're at in your thinking or your analysis of our water rate study and how that affects the landscape, if it does at all. I think it's, it's a gravitational force out there, so we should talk about it, even though I'm not sure we want to.
Absolutely, and I can tell you as a community member, I have watched the conversations. As a business owner, we have watched those conversations. I know that it's important for our community to understand what they're being asked to pay and contribute for services. We feel like there will always be a reason not to go to the voters. So we also know like BBB is going to potentially be on the ballot, right? But we feel like if we just put it off, there will be another issue. 2 years ago, we didn't come and ask to be on the ballot because there was a housing question and there was a floodwater mitigation question. The truth is, if we'd asked 2 years ago, we may have some of the funding we need to be responsive today. And so we just feel like this is important, but we want to participate and we want to partner with the city. Ultimately, these are city tax questions. So we want to be a partner in those education efforts in the community to help inform and educate people on why are we asking the question and what would change.
I think those are great points, and I completely agree with what you're saying. I want to drill in, though. I want to ask you, again, what do you think the effect on the landscape is of the water rate study from your perspective at Mountain Line?
I think that it is difficult to ask a voter to keep giving money to a community in a time where we see cost on the rise. Our money goes not as far as it did 5 years ago. I think that it could have an adverse impact on what we have already surveyed people and asked, so it could change someone's opinion as it becomes more contested in the community, as there's more conversations about it in the community. We did do the most recent survey within the last 3 months, so we feel like there was information on that out there. It's our hope that people understand the value. you mentioned the alternatives, and there are some intriguing alternatives there. Sorry, Jackie. I'm a big proponent of the go big or go home on this particular question. I think it's important that we ask the voters now if they're interested in seeing expanded transit with additional funding. I think until we have the opportunity to engage the public and have that conversation, then we have plans that sit on a shelf. And I think the plans need to be out there, people need to understand them, and we need to gauge what does the community want from transit as we continue to grow. Are we on the right track or are we on the wrong track? I think the risk is there are funding questions out there. And the other risk is it's a very busy ballot.
Councilmember Matthews.
Thank you, Mayor. So kind of tying into the rate, water rate proposal discussion that we're having, a lot of community members are making comments, asking our past performance on delivering projects that they're being taxed on or rates are going up. So there was a transportation tax, in 2017, 18, for more frequency, more connectivity.
So there was a transit question, there were 5 transit questions asked in 2008, and they ranged from continue to buy hybrid electric vehicles to increased frequency and new services. Those 5 questions then became one question that was renewed in 2016, and then there was an attempt in 2018 to increase the transit tax funding significantly for new services.
And that didn't go through?
That one did not pass. It was the third in a series of transportation-related questions. And our work afterwards was that we weren't clear about what we intended to do. And so we've worked very hard to be clear with this funding about how it will be used in the community. And I would just go back to 2008. We can demonstrate a check on every one of those questions of how we use that funding and implemented improved services.
Good, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Councilmember McCarthy.
Thank you, Mayor. Earlier we heard that we have reduced service levels right now. Can you explain what does that mean? Less routes or less frequent? Or
Sure.
And then the obvious question is why?
Mm-hmm. So probably not a new quote for you council members, but there's a staffing shortage in CDL positions. It's a nationwide shortage. Mountain Line has not been protected from that shortage. So what is reduced service? It means we have less frequent service on 3 routes. Those 3 routes are the Route 10 route that runs through University campus. Instead of 5 buses, it has 3 buses. Route 4, which runs past Coconino Community College, is supposed to have every 20-minute frequency. It has 40-minute frequency. But we also offer Route 14, serving that exact same area in the opposite direction, and it also provides 30-minute frequency. And then we have Route 2, which runs over Cedar Hill, that normally is 20-minute frequency, and it's at 30-minute frequency. So you can see we just cut a bus off of each of those routes. We are very prescriptive about how we do that and why we do that. To answer the question about staffing shortages, it is something we battled for the last 3 years. We would take service off and put service on. About 8 months ago, we made the decision that we were burning staff out and we needed to give ourselves time to just get ahead of that. We currently have improved our staffing already. We have a Drive the Bus event, by the way. If you want to come drive a bus, come out May 18th, drive a bus, as part of our recruitment efforts. But we just have a real recruitment push going on in the community. And we are right now planning, we will be back in full service no later than August of this year. We are using some of this downtime to do refresher training, to get people back up to speed, to do the things that got put off, if you will, during some staffing shortages. So we feel very confident that we will be back in full service with the staff that we need by August. And the transit planning here and the funding recommendation is really about the long-term plan for transit programs in our community. And I'll just add, we're doing a lot on our side to address what we think are policy concerns with CDL at the federal level and the state level.
Okay, that's a very comprehensive answer. I appreciate that. Thank you. I was just doing some informal reflection on tax rates. When I was a kid growing up in Tucson, the total sales tax rate was 4%, 4.0. Right now, not counting BBB tax, ours, if I'm not mistaken, is 9.181. And now, you'll love this one. I just went to D.C., and I have my hotel bill here. The tax they put on a hotel room in Washington, D.C. is 31%. 31%. Okay, my last point. I'm supportive of putting this on the ballot. I think someone has to make a judgment call on what percentage to ask the voters. And, you know, the higher you go, the more money you get, and you can do more for the bus service, but the probability of the voters saying no goes up. On the other hand, if you ask for a very small thing, you'll probably get it, but you may not be able to do much with it. So I presume that your recommendation has gone through your board and it's been carefully considered.
Yes, our board took action on Monday to send this recommendation to you after careful consideration, and you're right, both of those are factors. If we just ask for renewal, probably a pretty safe ask. But if we're going to renew, why aren't we also asking for the funding that we know we need? We've seen transit in the headlines a lot over the last year. We want to be responsive to that cry for improved services, and funding is an important part of that.
Thank you, Mayor.
Can you repeat that part about us being able to drive a bus?
So on Saturday, May 18th, at our new CDL course, by the way, we are having a Drive the Bus event. The entire public is invited to come out, apply for a job, drive a bus. I'll cook you a hot dog. But yes, at our new CDL course, it's on our website under recruitment. Please come join us.
Nice. Councilmember Sweet.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to touch a little bit on the buses that were used for FUSD. What I witnessed was you all came to the table, no hesitation, and really helped out a critical situation. Can you touch a little bit on what that means for this? Do you know if those buses are coming back and what you foresee in the future our role in that would be?
Of course. So if I can, I'll first explain what we did. So we did not do school bus service. I want to be really clear on that. We didn't suddenly take Mountain Line buses and go run school routes. What we did is we worked with the school district to ensure that students had bus passes in their hands. So we sent these telephonically, we gave them passes, we attend school events, etc. What we immediately saw was about 100% increase in use under our K through 12 program. Now, we don't know if those were all FUSD students. They could have been any K through 12 student in town, but we did see an immediate increase in usage. Our understanding is, and I don't want to speak on behalf of the school district, that that is now a part of their structure. And so we are working with them right now on how to extend the existing bus passes and ensure those students, and maybe more students, have bus access in the future. Our goal is if we can get K through 12 students on the bus, maybe that's one less parent sitting in traffic.
Thank you, and thank you for your effort with that. It was a quick decision on your part, and I think you made a good one. Thank you.
Councilmember Harris.
This is just a comment. I think that when you live in a smaller community, you get used to doing things one way. But growing up in a big metropolitan city, kids take the bus, the train, the L all day, every day, back and forth to school and school activities. And so, you know, I don't have a small kid in school right now, and so I empathize with parents, but I think that there should be a way to get kids on buses, because when you go by some of the schools and you see what's happening, you know, that's really hard, you know. And so if we're talking about our plan, our carbon plan, it doesn't help us if people aren't riding, and especially that many people. So that's just a comment from me, and a person who rode public transportation every day for I don't know how many years. So thank you.
Thank you. If you'd like to see students in action on our buses, come get on any Route 2 bus at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Be prepared to stand.
So I'm going to go ahead and take public comment, and then council will deliberate about our support of this. So I believe we have an online commenter.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, we do. I have Jason Kordowski. Jason, if you want to go ahead and unmute, you can give your comments now.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, Mayor Daggett, Vice Mayor Aslan, and City Councilors. My name is Jason Kordowski, and I am a resident of Coconino County who uses, or I should say used, Mountain Line Bus to run errands around town to lower my carbon footprint. I just want to throw in my 2 cents about this agenda item. I became aware in the spring of 2023 that fares comprised only 8% of Mountain Line's operating revenues in fiscal year 2022. I saw the low fare revenues as an opportunity for our public transit system to become fare-free. Public transit systems across the country have gone fare-free on the same premise. Many of these public transit systems went fare-free with fares comprising a higher portion of their operating revenues than Mountain Line Bus. Cities that transition to fare-free public transit find it increases ridership, reduces traffic congestion, reduces carbon emissions, and provides more opportunities to families and low-income individuals. Cities find creative ways to fund fare-free public transit through transit taxes, private and public partnerships, grants, and more. After learning all of this, I started a group called Free Mountain Line with the acronym FML, which has been surprisingly fitting. Anyway, we created a petition to find support in the community for making our public transit fare-free. The Free Mountain Line petition is currently supported by over 750 residents of the greater Flagstaff area, and I anticipate at the very least doubling that support over the summer. With all that being said, I'm here to share my support for a fare-free Mountain Line bus. Ever since I started the petition, I've been told by many people in the community that Mountain Line Bus already has a plan or a draft plan to go fare-free, which is great. Mountain Line Bus also voted to go fare-free as quickly as possible with funding from partners in June 2023, thanks to an amendment added by Councilor Sweet. I fully support them in implementing any fare-free or zero fare plan unseen, because we need to do everything we can to make sustainable forms of transportation, like public transit, more accessible to ensure that Flagstaff achieves its goal of being carbon neutral by 2030. Let's make the transit tax work for everyone and the environment. The price of making Mountain Line fare-free is low compared to the benefits it can provide to our environment, community, economy, and congested roadways. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Jason. Any other public comment?
No, Mayor.
Okay, so, council, we don't need a motion. We just need thumbs up, head nod. And I just want to say that I'm very supportive of this. And one of the main reasons is because Mountain Line always follows through on its commitments. You always deliver what you say that you're going to deliver. I think that this is a smart investment on the community's part, and as a taxpayer, I believe it to be a smart investment. And we know that transit is key to our climate goals and also our land use goals. So I'm very supportive. And I'd like to see thumbs up or nods from other council, or the opposite, if that is what you want to vote. So
Who is in support of putting this on the ballot in November? Okay, you've got unanimous support from the Flagstaff City Council.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mountain Line. All right, next up, item number 4, FY 22-23 Neighborhood Sustainability Grant Projects Report.
Hello, Mayor and Council. My name is Tia Hatton-Tenney, and I work in the Sustainability Division. I'm very excited to be here today to present an overview of the fiscal year 2023 Neighborhood Sustainability Grant Projects and their accomplishments. The Neighborhood Sustainability Grant Program funds creative community sustainability projects. This grant program has truly become a community staple. It empowers our community to identify needs and provides the funds for their sustainability ideas. Over the last decade, it has funded 63 projects across Flagstaff with an estimated impact on thousands of community members. In fiscal year 2023, the Sustainability Division and the Sustainability Commission allocated nearly $50,000 across the top scoring 10 projects. This is a competitive grant process, and in fiscal year 23, we received 18 applications. The Sustainability Commission devotes several commission meetings to evaluating and scoring applications. This grant program is funded through the environmental management fee and is part of the Sustainability Division's ongoing budget. Now I will discuss each of the 10 projects and their project outcomes. The first project I'll discuss is Flagstaff Food Link's Building Community Through Food series. They received just over $4,700 to fund their project, which aimed to host accessible events and workshops focused on food sovereignty and community resilience. For this project, they successfully held 8 events and workshops. A couple of these included a marketing for growers workshop and a seed starting workshop, which are shown in those first 2 photos on the left. Over 650 community members attended these 8 events, with the largest turnout being for the 3rd annual Native American Farmers Market and Harvest Festival, shown in that 3rd photo. One of the community events was also a fruit gleaning day, where they lent out newly purchased fruit pickers and saved over 500 pounds of apples from being wasted. You can see that group in that photo on the right. Flagstaff Food Link continues to do incredible things across our community. The next project is Killip Elementary's Community Food Production Project, which provided a $5,000 award to expand their school's community garden operations and learning opportunities for students. This project successfully helped expand the gardening program at Killip to give all students opportunities to garden outside. Students were also sent home with greens, tomatoes, strawberries, and produce, which were also given to the cafeteria staff to be used at lunchtime. Furthermore, the grant supported the purchase of a shed to keep tools secure and accessible, seen in the photo on the left, as well as the purchase of bus tubs and an outdoor sink to help with the harvest, cleaning, and preparation of the produce. Those bus tubs can also be seen in that middle photo. Lastly, they also purchased drip irrigation, which Warner's Nursery graciously offered to install free of charge. The next project is Flagstaff Youth Riders, aka Flyers Project. They were awarded $5,000 to expand and improve on the Puente de Hoyo bike park. This project engaged 21 volunteers across 4 volunteer days to improve the park through the manual removal of invasive thistle, install new bike features, and informational signs, such as the one in the photo on the right. An important accomplishment of this project was adding an established picnic area, which included the addition of 2 picnic tables for people to rest and hang out at, and a bike rack for people to safely put their bikes on. The next project is Townsite Urban Farms, building community resilience through access, education, and connection. Their project was awarded $5,000, and their goals included expanding the capacity to host additional gardeners and expanding food production and distribution to food insecure populations. Townsite Urban Farm was able to accomplish its varied goals. They held a whopping 30 volunteer days throughout their grant term. They also hosted 6 educational events and learning opportunities, including a workshop with the Arizona Mushroom Company, being a part of the Master Gardener Tour, hosting a canning workshop, as well as a book club and field trip on rainwater harvesting. Townsite was also able to purchase a 2,500-gallon water tank, which you can see being installed in the second photo with lots of help. Due to the layout of the urban farm property, they were able to partner with their neighbors, Salvation Army, and harvest water off the Salvation Army roof. Further, they also purchased 4 new garden beds to place at the front of their property, which increased community awareness of urban food production in the Townsite neighborhood. This next project is from Flagstaff individual Marco Alatorre. He was awarded $5,000 for his project to make homes and neighborhoods more resilient and fire-wise by removing liability biomass and, in turn, using this biomass to create a locally produced non-fossil fuel energy source pellet, and then explore local uses for that leftover biochar. So this project accomplished its goals, including removing an estimated 1,500 pounds of pine needles in the Schweitzer Mesa neighborhood. These pine needles would otherwise likely be bagged and sent to the landfill or remain as dead and dry fuel, leaving the neighborhood vulnerable to fire impacts. Marco also partnered with the students and parents of the Montessori School of Flagstaff. 30 students and chaperones helped collect pine needles, as well as were able to witness a demonstration of the pine needle pelletizing process, which can be seen in that middle photo. They also successfully figured out how to utilize 500 pounds of these pine needle pellets as a wood stove energy source through a retort. A lot of the homes in the Schweitzer Mesa neighborhood also have wood stoves already, so it was a very cool local circular process. As seen in the picture on the very right, the pellets are inside that, and then the leftover becomes the biochar. The biochar, of which 150 pounds were created during this first grant term, can be used in gardening and landscape applications, and even as a pet-friendly ice melt. Marco plans to continue and expand in the coming years. The next project was the Arboretum at Flagstaff's Increasing Community Resilience Through Native and Edible Plant Propagation. They received $5,000 to fund their project to build community resilience through increasing the propagation of native and edible plants in order to increase Flagstaff's resilience, ecological diversity, pollinator habitat, as well as food and seed sharing. The Arboretum was able to meet most of its goals, with the only exception being Mother Nature's challenges to growing plants in northern Arizona. They did see a 20% increase in plant propagation and a 10% increase in their native plant sales. They also provided pollinator plants to Puente de Hojo's garden and the Murdoch Center's pollinator garden. And lastly, a huge impact of this grant was the ability to offset skyrocketing soil costs in 2023 and support staff time. The next project I'll talk about is ASU Extension Services and Arizona 4-H's Foundation's project with Killip Elementary students for a community horticultural therapy program. They received $5,000 to support their goals, which included improving the youth's overall well-being, improving skills, and instilling a sense of responsibility. This project was incredibly successful. 97% of participating students improved their mood after each session, and all session objectives were met or partially met. This project also relied on volunteers from the Master Gardeners and NAU Public Health AmeriCorps program, which provided 192 volunteer hours. Local businesses, Plante and Warner's Nursery, also provided discounted plants for the horticultural therapy program. Students shared the following quotes about the program. "I learned how to be kind to plants and to people." Another student said, "I get so excited about gardening club, I could just scream." And a parent said, "I can't believe how well Jay cares for his plants at home. He really learned a lot through this program." The Extension Services aims to continue their work at Killip Elementary, as well as to expand their programming throughout Coconino County to serve people at risk, including elders, at-risk youth, and under-resourced populations. All right. Next, we have Sunnyside Neighborhood Association's Market of Dream remodel. This project received $5,000 to support the remodel and redevelopment of the Market of Dreams, a micro-entrepreneurship and multicultural center serving Sunnyside neighborhood. This ongoing project, slated for completion in June 2024, engaged over 40 businesses and organizations and over 150 volunteers. One challenge for this project was that the new electrical supply box was on back order for 7 months due to international supply chain issues. Still, it was finally installed in December of 2023, enabling further remodeling to continue. An impactful partnership that the Neighborhood Association established was working with adults in the Coconino County Adult Probation Department who needed to complete community service hours. The Neighborhood Association's board, staff, and volunteers worked with them and provided one-on-one mentoring and life coaching. The next project is Flagstaff Disc Golf Club's project to install bike racks and benches for the McPherson and Thorpe Park disc golf courses. They were awarded $5,000 to support their project to promote biking to the courses in support of the carbon neutrality plan and to expand accessibility for those who don't own vehicles. Flagstaff Disc Golf Club emphasized sustainability and sought local makers and partners to make their project happen. They worked in coordination with city staff and transportation to figure out the best bike rack design and worked with pro staff to help install them. You can see pro staff installing them in that bottom left-hand photo. These bike racks were made locally by Mayorga's Welding and installed in time for the World Disc Golf Championship this last summer. They also had local pine slab benches made from AP sawmill and lumber. Lastly, the Disc Golf Club wanted to celebrate the new bike racks and hosted a party to highlight them and encourage their use. You can see the photo of that party in the bottom right-hand corner. And Fratelli's graciously offered pizza for the event. These bike racks and benches will be used for years and years to come. The final project I'll discuss today is the Energy Efficiency Lighting Project at Harbert Chapel AME. They received just over $1,300 to update their lighting to reduce energy usage, save money, and make their outdoor lighting dark sky friendly. And I have a special surprise for this one. They actually submitted a video for their final project presentation, and it's only a couple of minutes, so I thought I would just pull it up and play it for you all.
My name is Corey Moore, and I'm the former pastor of Harbor Chapel AME Church in Flagstaff, Arizona. I'm currently pastoring at Holy Trinity Community AME Church in Mesa, Arizona. I would just like to share with you the excitement and the appreciation Harbor Chapel have for the gift we received from the Sustainability Grant to renew the lighting within the building. And so as you see, based on the pictures visible on the screen, you can see where we replaced the old fluorescent lights with new LED lights that will not only save the church financially over the years, but it's also contributing to the reduction in energy use for the church as well as for the community. We were able to replace not only lights on the inside of the church, but lights on the outside of church. And again, this has been the blessing for the church in this building. As you know, it's one of the oldest churches in the community. And so this grant has helped to renew and modernize some of the lighting systems within the building, as well as allowed us the opportunity to address some of the wiring concerns that were present during the installation of the new lighting system. And so again, we are very thankful at Harbor Chapel. We appreciate the grant and all that it allowed us to do, and we appreciate having the opportunity to reduce the expense upon such a small congregation within the community, so that the church is able to use the resources it has to give back to the community. And so it has been a blessing. It has been wonderful. And we are looking forward to seeing the great benefits that continue to come from modernizing the lighting systems at Harbor Chapel AME Church. Again, we thank you at Harbor Chapel. We appreciate the grant and the gift that was given to us. And we look forward to continuing to work with the community and to giving back to others within our community. So thank you to all that participated. Thank you to those that given us the opportunity to receive the sustainability grant. Thank you for those who have contributed to those resources so that we was able to benefit from it. We thank you once again. We give God the glory. And again, we look forward to continuing to work with our community. God bless you. God keep you.
Right, well, thank you so much for listening and for providing funding each year for this grant program. This year's grant application will open by September 1st of this year, and we will continue to offer grant workshops, grant office hours, and do robust outreach for the program. I will also be back to present at council when the application opens this year to solicit your help with outreach and in expanding the applicant pool. More information about the grant can be found at flagstaff.az.gov/NSG, and you can always reach out to me with any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The Sunnyside project, I don't think I caught exactly what they're using the money for. Somehow it escaped me.
Yeah, it was the physical items for the remodel. So I think it went towards like the electrical box and then other like physical construction materials for the remodel.
Got it. Thank you.
I probably didn't mention it.
Council, questions, comments? Nice work. These are some exciting projects, and the pellet, we need to get them moved into NASET and get that expanded. Dave McIntyre, if you're listening. Thank you. Again, great presentation.
Thank you.
All right, moving down to item number 5, open call to the public. I don't see any public comments. Informational items, 2 from Mayor, Council, and City Manager, and future agenda item requests. Let's start down here with Councilmember House.
Thank you, Mayor. Just 2 quick things tonight. A reminder to Council and the community that May is Mental Health Awareness Month. In partnership with that, if folks remember at the annual, I forget the name of the award, not Viola's, Athena. Yes, thank you. At the annual Athena Awards, there was a presentation from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona on fighting stigma of mental health within Arizona communities. As part of that, they are hosting for folks that took that pledge, including myself, free access to a mental health first aid course at the end of this month. So if you have taken that pledge or if you're interested in learning more, please check out Blue Cross Blue Shield's website to get more information about both of those things. Also, today there was a meeting of the Arizona Commission of African American Affairs, of which I am proud to represent Northern Arizona on that commission. And they are focusing on gathering Juneteenth celebrations throughout the state, including Flagstaff celebration, which is coming up on June 14th through 16th. And for more information on that, you'll see information coming out shortly from the Southside Community Association and the Coconino County African Diaspora Advisory Council, as well as the Live Black Experience Project. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Sweet?
I went out today to the Cheshire Project and brought food and drink, and I have to say I'm pretty excited about this and plan on attending each day to see the progress. A huge thank you to the traffic engineering team. They've been out there on site and doing a great job restriping and getting everything ready to go. And a reminder to come paint. There'll be a first stroke event this Saturday, 8 a.m. Our mayor will be there, Chair Vasquez, and District 1 Supervisor Horseman. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember McCarthy?
Well, thank you, Mayor. On Saturday, I attended the train day event down at the local train station, the Amtrak station, and I can report that there was enough people there that all of the cake got eaten. So, I would like to ask for a fair item, and we heard earlier tonight about a woman that had excessive charges for towing her car and storing her car, and so I would like to have a fair item that discusses towing and car storage charges, I mean, and the use of cash versus credit card, if that's part of it. I believe that a email that kind of gives some background on the subject was sent to council members in the last couple days. So that's my fair item. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Matthews?
Thank you, Mayor. I too have a fair item, or a fair. I'd like
That's fair.
the council to consider expanding our IPAH program, which is the incentive policy for affordable housing. Is currently funded at $500,000, I believe. And I'd like to explore how we could extend that out to local employers for workforce housing. They probably would have to have a community component, 20% or something, but just really addressing the housing shortage that we have. I know a lot of the employers, probably all the employers in town, are suffering from lack of workforce because of the cost of housing. And so I'd like to just explore what we could offer as far as incentives to help them be a participant in addressing our housing shortage. And so expanding that to not just low-income affordable housing developers, but also to local employers.
Thank you. Councilmember Harris?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple things. I attended the airport commission meeting, and just to let you know that there's lots of things going on at the airport, but the one thing that's probably more exciting to me than anything else is they're going to a conference, and it's kind of like speed dating, but what they're doing is visiting with Alaska Airlines, American, Breeze, Southwest, Delta, and United. And so they'll do a round robin to see if any of those are interested in coming in. So that would give us an additional carrier. And just a fun note, Wiseman Aviation allowed Coconino Coconino High School to have their prom. And so that was really a lot of fun for the kids. Open space meeting, after I finally got my technical issues resolved. I was able to attend. And they're discussing e-bikes on trails. And so I think we're going to be hearing some of that shortly. And then the last thing is I attended Coconino Community College's graduation at NAU yesterday, and they had a packed house in Audrey Auditorium. So that's over 1,000 people in that auditorium, and so that was really nice. And then tomorrow night, I guess I'm representing the mayor at Flag High for their mayor awards. Okay, yeah. So, and that's it for me.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Of all the assets that the city could send to a speed dating event, I think Brian is a really, really good choice for that. I don't have anything.
Thank you. I had a great meeting with the director of the Foundation for Senior Living, and they're doing a project in downtown Flagstaff, and the city council allocated $3.3 million to help with that project. And I'm just really encouraged by the work they're doing around the state, and I encourage people to look into them more, and I hope that they do many more projects in Flagstaff. A reminder to the public that Thursday from 3 to 5 is a water rate work session. Council will be just focused on the water rates for 2 hours. This Sunday is Wiggles to Whiskers adoption event, and Kaibab Veterinary Clinic is going to be there with vaccinations. So you should bring your buddy and get some vaccinations. There'll also be a food truck and some animal-related vendors, plus nearly every rescue group in northern Arizona is going to be there. So I'm excited about that. One thing that I neglected to mention last week is that during my time with the U.S. Conference of Mayors in D.C., we met with the Secretary for Veterans Affairs, and he gave out an 800 number, which is a 24/7 hotline that can be called if you encounter a veteran who is unsheltered. And he said that a phone call to this number will get that veteran housing that night or that day. And the number is 877-424-3838. And I've shared that with many of our social service agencies in Flagstaff. So that's what I have. City Manager?
Nothing from me. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, everyone. Great meeting. We're adjourned.
Past and witness what life was like in early Flagstaff. Explore America's Mountain Garden at the Arboretum, where the maze of high country plant and animal life goes on for miles. And you can get up close and friendly with Arizona's majestic birds of prey. Just down the road, the Museum of Northern Arizona offers a trip through time, from the dinosaurs of the Colorado Plateau to the very first inhabitants who brought with them a culture and tradition that